That's right. This is Bad Weather Fans, episode 143. I'm Alex Benesowitz. He is Mike Baseglia. No music for this episode as we are not in the best of moods after the week we have had as Jewish Americans living in the tri-state area. It is even worse for Mike as he is a diehard Nets fan, but it is hard for me as well, even though I'm a diehard Knicks fan who openly roots against the Brooklyn Nets. Since we last recorded on Sunday, Steve Nash has been fired and Jacques Vaughn has taken over as the interim head coach, and the Nets are rumored to bring on the suspended Ime Udoka, who was suspended by the Celtics for multiple sexual harassment allegations. And word is we have not heard all of the stories with that. But that is not even the biggest Nets news of the week, Mike. Kyrie Irving dodges the media for 2 games, then releases a statement saying he will donate $500,000 to the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, and the Nets will match, but no apology in the statement. And he wasn't even going to meet with the ADL. Kyrie's family was going to do it for him, of course. Then today, Adam Silver, the NBA's commissioner, who was Jewish, by the way, broke his silence and said he is disappointed with Kyrie's actions, but did not suspend or fine him. And then finally, Kyrie spoke to the media today, and of course, he was going to apologize, right? Nope, he did not. Instead, he triples down now, refuses to apologize, said he reads dictionaries, and says he does not believe everything in the documentary, but does not say what part of the documentary he believes and what he does not. With all of that said, I feel awful for my co-host and friend Mike. Being a Nets fan is part of his family, and there are a lot of emotions there. So with that, Mike, I want to hear what you have to say. I'll jump in after, but let's hear it.
Well, thank you, Alex. I appreciate that.
I had to get that out.
Yeah, man. Well, I don't. The Nets are a team that I love. I've been a Net fan basically my entire life. I'm 39 years old. I went to my first Nets game, I think in 1993. My first Nets memory was Drazen Petrovic dropping 44 on the Rockets and winning that game. So, the Nets are a fabric of my life. I've gone to games with my dad. It's something we've always done. I'll always be a Nets fan, and I love them. People that listen to this podcast and have heard me through 142 episodes, I don't bring up that I'm Jewish. I really don't make it a point of this podcast as I should. Maybe it comes up. Yeah, I'm sure it's come up an episode here or there, but it's never been something that I thought was necessary or deemed important to talk about, because to me it was just all, for interacting with the Net fans and the Knick fans, was just talking about something that was basketball, shooting the shit about the Nets and, the Knicks and, the games back and forth and all the components there. And the last couple days have been tremendously difficult. I I have a hard time grasping everything that I have seen over the last couple of days. Like, I fell in love with the idea of Kyrie Irving being on the Nets. A lot of what he had said in the past, I jive with. I still do. But it got to a point where, anti-Semitism and anti-Semitic hate through the book and movie that he was promoting was just out of hand. And it got to a point where, rooting for the Nets just wasn't fun, right? Like, I I have always in my head done the thing where it's like, what would it be like winning a championship? What would it be like winning a championship? You go through the hard times, and then you get to that final goal. I have been so stressed out about the Nets that it didn't even matter anymore what they had done on the court. I just, for my own mental sanity, wanted some peace. And the idea of, I just want to watch the Nets and they lose and be upset and complain about rotations and complain about other parts of this team that weren't right or weren't winning in standard basketball form. But the last couple of days have just gotten so defeating for me personally. And I know a lot of other Net fans I know that I've communicated with, where it just got to the point where results don't even matter anymore. You just want to go back to being just regular and not having to worry about hate. And I've just been distraught about it, and I was really happy to see what the Nets put out a statement today fighting back against Kyrie and his anti-Semitic behavior and his anti-Semitic look. I think Kyrie Irving has a real hard time being able to say sorry. And I don't think that's in his makeup to admit when he has made a mistake. We all make mistakes. And I want to give Kyrie the benefit of the doubt that there's a lot of good in his heart, but there's a lot of rotten evil as well. And he took it out and he did a lot of damage to a lot of net fans. I was on the verge of emailing Sean Marks and tonight and Joe Tsai, pleading with them to do something. And I was very happy to see that they did, because it got to the point where I was crushed. I was absolutely crushed. And I'll always love the Nets. I'm happy they took care of this, and I'm happy that they suspended Kyrie Irving. I don't think he'll ever play another game in a Nets uniform, because he will never be remorseful that the actions that he did and the hurt that he caused on a lot of people. And I know there's a lot of people that are listening to this podcast and might not understand that, and might not understand the viewpoint of having that and understanding the sympathy that goes there. And I always, as a person, tried my best and really always made it a point to understand where somebody else is coming from and understand what it's like to be in somebody else's shoes, which is impossible. And I know there's a lot of people that have gone through way worse and have felt real struggle and pain. And I would never want to minimize that or understand, and I would want to understand that and get that viewpoint. And I would just ask for the same sympathy back. Ask for the same sympathy back, that not everything is always as simple as it seems, and it's just some tweet and some movie that was placed out on a video, and there's some portions that are good, and if you just knew that, that's what Kyrie meant. So much harm was there, and I would ask for people to have understanding and listening and hear other points of view and know that not everything is so simple, and that real people were really hurt. And I was crushed the last couple of days, and it really took a toll on me. It's been really hard for me. It's been hard for my family, and I have a 2-year-old son that I love more than anything, and I devote my whole life to him. And I get alerts on my phone today that synagogues are under attack, and be careful with what's going on there. My son goes to synagogue for school. That's where he goes in the morning. It's a preschool. It's not a Jewish school. It's not but that's where his school is. I don't want to live in fear of now taking him to school every day. And I'm not saying that it's Kyrie Irving's fault that synagogues are under attack. This is something that has been going on for generations and generations, way too long. But the point is, pushing more hate on hate and putting it out there for people that don't know the real story is a very big problem. And I would ask and I would plead with people that are listening to Bad Weather Fans to understand, to talk, and let's have a dialogue and not just assume something is said is right, and be there for each other. So I appreciate a couple of minutes there. Um, you know, I'm looking forward to just watching some Nets again, and seeing them lose by 17 in Washington and complaining about the lack of defense.
Yeah, it would be nice, right? You dream about the last 2 years problems, considering what has happened over the last few days. And the Nets, released a statement, suspended him for 5 games minimum without pay. But in their statement, they did not say. So I'm not going to read the whole statement. It's 3 paragraphs, but the last paragraph, they say, such failure to disavow anti-Semitism when given a clear opportunity to do so is deeply disturbing, is against the values of our organization, and constitutes conduct detrimental to the team. Accordingly, we are of the view that he is currently unfit to be associated with the Brooklyn Nets. We have decided that Kyrie will serve a suspension without pay until he satisfies a series of objective remedial measures that address the harmful impact of his conduct, and the suspension period served as no less than 5 games. So you're right. It could be forever. It could be 5 games. It could be 10 games. It could be 2 months. Who knows? But given Kyrie Irving's attitude, given the way Kyrie Irving acts as a person, where he says as an adult, as a 30-year-old man who clearly hasn't been told no in over a decade, since he was with LeBron, probably, maybe less than a decade, whenever that was. And he couldn't wait to get out of there, So he is not going to say no. I think he wants this. Deep down, he loves playing the victim. He's been doing it his entire career. He opens his mouth, creates a problem in Boston. Everybody shoots back. The fans boo him now, and he acts like the victim. He does it. He did it with the vaccine last year. He doesn't want to get the vaccine, and it's just the rules of the city, and everybody else got the vaccine. Andrew Wiggins didn't want to get the vaccine. He became an all-star and won a championship. Kyrie torpedoed last season by not doing that. And then he played the victim. I'm standing up for those people and who lost their jobs. And meanwhile, you didn't get anybody's jobs back. What were you proving? You know, you can get vaccinated, don't get vaccinated. I respect anybody's opinion, what they want to do on that. I don't care about who wants to be vaccinated or not. But if you have a team that's a championship contender and you're not getting vaccinated, that's selfish. That's selfish. That's putting yourself above the team, and then you're playing the victim when people get mad at you. He's doing that again now. You're sharing a documentary that you don't even make money off of, that you said several times you didn't make it, but you're costing yourself maybe your entire NBA career, another chance at a championship this year, and money off your contract that was guaranteed this season because you are not getting paid during your suspension because it's conduct detrimental to the team. So you are not only doing this for no money on this documentary, you're costing yourself money for what? For what? You want to be a martyr one day? Are you trying to be Colin Kaepernick and be blackballed so you can say you've been blackballed and then go speak at events and act like the one that the Jews kicked me out of the league? Is that what you want to be? I don't understand what he's trying to prove here. If you want to believe that thousands of years ago, certain black people were the first Israelites and you know, the Semites, etc., that's fine. I don't care. As a Jewish American in 2022, I don't care. You can believe what you want to believe. I believe what I want to believe. I believe that there were black people that were Jews back then. I believe there still are. I believe all of that. But why are you shoving this down my throat? And not only that, that is not the issue that Jewish people in America that are Jewish like us, like Mike and I, have a problem with. We have a problem with this documentary that quotes Adolf Hitler, wasn't even real quotes from Adolf Hitler, said the Holocaust was fake, and also says that Jews worship the devil. Not to mention there was a lot of other Jewish misinformation out there, propaganda, anti-Jewish information. Kyrie refuses to say what parts of that documentary he agrees with and what parts he doesn't. He can clear all of this up right now if he just said, the only thing I really agreed with is that blacks were the first Jews. Okay, done. End of story. Nobody cares anymore. That's it. But he can't even do that. He can't even say, I'm sorry. He doesn't say, my bad. He's not saying, oh, I messed up. Nothing. He just double talks and spins in circles and acts like he's the smartest man in the world. And it's infuriating. As a Jewish American, as a Knicks fan, I feel bad for Nets fans, and I hate the Nets, but I feel bad for you guys because this is bigger than basketball. So that's, it's just,
it's not about hoops. It's not about hoops anymore, right? It's not like, you know, and I've seen, it's not about hoops anymore. It doesn't even matter. Like last night was the first time I can ever remember not checking in on the Knicks Hawks score. I always keep an eye on the Knicks. I'm not saying I'm watching every second, but I want to make sure they're losing.
Yes.
I didn't even look. I didn't even care. It's like it didn't even cross my mind until later. Oh, let me check what the Knicks score was. It didn't even cross my mind. And you sit on something that's so true. It's the propaganda that's in something that is spreading misinformation. That's the key. Spreading information that's not real, that's fake, that's complete and utter bullshit that people will gravitate to, hear, and latch onto, and then start to believe it and start to feel it. That's scary stuff, right? That's the part where you just go, this can't happen. You can't share misinformation that is false that people then hear and take. You know, when you have your bingo card of people to not endorse, in the center of the fucking card is the free space is Hitler. You do not endorse Hitler. That's a no-no. That's somebody, he hates everybody. That's somebody that despises people that are not like him. And anytime Hitler is in something you're promoting, I promise you it's a bad idea to do it. And don't take my word for it. Listen to what Hitler says. Listen to what he has done. And I can't believe on episode 143 of Bad Weather Fans, I have to explain the pure devious hatred and evil that comes from somebody. And that is disgusting. Don't propagate somebody that has Hitler in there. And that is disturbing for Jewish Americans, which has a lot of trauma associated with it. And it doesn't mean that other trauma for other people never happened. All of it is sickening. but it doesn't mean to go ahead and propagate that. Like, I'll say this, if there's 20% of something you liked from a movie that you deemed was okay, I get it, but it doesn't make the other 80% okay. Like, you can't pick and choose throughout it. Like, hey, you know what? There was this part that was good, so let's not care about the part which says the Holocaust didn't happen. You can't have it like that, right? That's just not how it works. That's not fair to people. You know, if there was a documentary that was said about some heinous activity that happened in the history of our society, but then there's a 10% part of it that talks about how great it is to make blueberry muffins. You go, but I was really into that 10% about the blueberry muffins. Let me put aside the 90% that was about murdering people. It's still in the documentary.
Yeah. I hear you. I hear you. And also, it's just, as you're talking, I thought about it, because it's just like, he's saying that he doesn't agree with everything in the documentary or the book, whatever it is. No, I did not watch it. I refuse to give my money towards something like that. So I'm going off what people, real reporters, credentialed reporters, said when they watched the movie and the documentary and the book. Either way, they said it was disgusting, anti-Semitic to its core, right? So I get Kyrie thinks he can't be anti-Semitic because he thinks he's Jewish, but this documentary is insulting Jewish Americans like myself and Jewish people in Israel and all over the world who are the Jews in the common era, in the modern era. I'm sorry. That's who he's insulting. Okay. So if you don't like parts of the movie, and let's say you don't even like most of the movie, why would you recommend it to millions and millions of people on your social media platforms? If I don't like a movie, I'm going to be like, there was a couple funny parts. It's not worth your time. I'm not going to post it on my social media. Look, it's just, there's no sense. And he thinks he's smarter than everybody, but he is not. Like, stop trying to act like you're smarter than everybody. You're a smart guy, but you're so smart that you've outsmarted yourself. You know, I don't know.
I like people that listen to each other and can come and can have a dialogue about things, but he doesn't let other people have an opinion, and he gets upset when you push back on him. He gets upset. And to be honest, he reminds me a lot of somebody that used to be in the White House, where if you start putting pressure on him and asking him quite tough questions, he gets defensive. He gets angry, and he doesn't know how to answer them. And that's a sign of weakness. And that's what it's just like, answer the questions. You want to answer them. Here's the tough questions, answer them. Don't be afraid of them. And then don't spin it that the people asking the questions are the bad guys, that they're the bad guys for asking the tough questions. And I give a lot of credit to the media, especially today, for pushing Kyrie to answer the tough questions. They didn't shy away. They pushed him on it, and he folded because the hatred from him spewed out, and he was unable to do it. And he is unable to show any sign of remorse. And credit the Nets. And, they fucked up a lot of it, and it took way too long, but at least they didn't allow for what happened today to continue. And then their statement, they're tough. They're saying, we tried. We connected him.
They did. I mean, they
tried, and they said we tried. And if that was, a lot of that was for show, but they did it. And when he doubled down and could not
triple down,
somebody says if you're anti-Semitic or not, you just answer the question. Answer the question. Don't run around and dance around from it. And I could hear people listening already going, "Oh, but he said this and he tried that," and now you're trying to say how he needs to answer a question. If somebody says, "Are you anti-Semitic?" you say yes or you say no. If you don't know how to answer the question, you answered it.
Right. Or if you say that you believe that you can't be anti-Semitic because you were the first Jew, or whatever the way it is. I'm sorry if I'm botching. I'm not trying to mock it. I really believe that people think that, and I think there might be some truth to that, and there's no problem with that. But if you really believe that, you should take that question and say, do you believe you're anti-Semitic? No, I can't be anti-Semitic because I believe this, but I do not hate Jewish people, modern Jewish people in around this world, and I do not believe XYZ from this documentary. And it's that simple, and it's over.
Yeah.
But he couldn't even do that.
And the problem that's coming from that now is that people are now saying all these stereotypes about Jewish people and then using it around it.
That's
like
the most upsetting thing. Yeah.
The media. Oh, the control.
This one's scumbag Jewish guy, bankrupt these black people once a long time ago. Like, what does that have to do with this?
There's bad Jewish people.
Of course.
100%.
Jeffrey Epstein, horrible person.
There's a lot of bad people.
Yeah.
So
there's bad everything. They're bad everything.
Yeah. And it's frustrating.
I don't know. Whatever. One thing I want to know.
Yeah.
Is where is Kevin Durant? Where is Kevin Durant? He runs the franchise. He is the franchise. He has been silent about this. He is the first guy to tweet about every little thing on Twitter and go back and forth with fans on different things. Where is his opinion on this? He has liked Farrakhan posts in the past. He probably, not to accuse him, I'm saying probably agrees with half this shit that Kyrie is saying, but he's not dumb enough to say it. But at the same time, as the leader of the franchise, as Kevin Durant is one of the 10 best players in the history of the NBA, why are you not giving your opinion on what has happened if you disagree? You know what I mean? If you agree, you stay silent. If you disagree, you know what I mean? You say something.
Yeah.
You know,
I wouldn't want to put words in Kevin Durant's mouth.
I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to. I don't get it. You know.
I get you. I
don't want to accuse him. Don't take me the wrong way. I'm not accusing him of anything. It's just puzzling to me that he has stayed silent.
I think for him, it's a really difficult thing to do because it puts him in a tough spot. And I think it's as much as it would be nice. I just don't think it's as easy as doing that. I think.
How is he still friends with him? How are you still friends with him? I don't understand that. He ruined his back end of his career. You know?
Yeah, there's definitely something where, I mean, he'll always have a love for Kyrie and a brotherhood.
Sure.
But there's definitely something where he knows deep down inside. I mean, this on a basketball front isn't it? I mean, epic failure doesn't do it justice. I don't even know what to call. Like when you look back at the Nets and their run, I can't even put into words how bad it is. And as a Net fan, it's been truly awful. I mean, it's been next level not fun. It's like pretend to be the Jets, but with expectations of the Patriots with Brady, and then having some of the accusations and having players on your team that are like the Texans. I mean, it's like all of it together.
And then Udoka on top of that.
Man, it's just a never. I think
Nash had to go, right? You think Nash had to go, and that's fine. And I agree.
From a basketball standpoint.
Why is Udoka the guy you're bringing in? You want to add another bomb? It just makes
it was
sense.
A last-ditch effort to try to win.
Yeah.
And I think the Nets.
It's not official yet, though, right?
Truly, no, it's not official. So who knows? Yeah. But I think the Nets really thought they would connect with Kyrie and say, hey, this is what we got to do. This is the game plan.
This is who you wanted.
Right. And in Kyrie, to his values, say, no, like, I'm not this guy. I'm not going to confine to that. And I'll give him, I guess, respect on that front that he didn't like. I heard some people say, like, I'm not mad. This actually angered me. I'm not mad at Kyrie because of what he said. I'm mad at Kyrie because he couldn't just say sorry and do what was best for the Nets. That irritated me to no end because it's on the front of, I actually like it. That's almost as bad. That's terrible too. Because there's no understanding of remorse or what was said. And there's this idea and ideology that it's just, oh, that wasn't that bad, but Kyrie, you just got to say sorry for the benefit of the doubt for the team. Like, no, this is not good language. And it's frustrating. It's very frustrating to see. And shame on me because I'll never forget. I saw the post. It was in the morning when I saw it on Instagram that it came through. I was struggling on my Wordle. So I left and went to Instagram and I saw this and it like crossed my mind. I didn't know what the movie was, but I saw it and I went like, okay, interesting. What is this?
Yeah, like what the hell is that? Yeah.
And then more and more information came out. And at first this is where I think I've had a change. I talked about this a little bit on the last episode, but at first I was like, I don't think this is a big deal because I know Kyrie Irving is spewing hate, but I don't think people are actually going to believe this bullshit.
Mhm.
But the deeper in the weeds I got, and I started seeing people interactions and hearing things, I started to realize like, no, people think this is real. People think this is information that's out there. And that's when it started to connect in my head. I was like, Kyrie, please, like, have a change of heart here. Have a different, like, realize what you had done, realize the kind of the flaring that you had created. And that's where I got to the point where I was like, oh no, like, this is a real problem. And then I started to feel bad about myself. I started to feel angry and I got scared. And I was like, just I'm at a point of just like a little nerve wracking seeing the energy and the anger towards Jewish people who are kind of just like, we're just minding our own business.
What
We
did
don't
we
want to deal
do?
with
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. What did I do? What did I do to deserve that? Like, and I know there are bad Jewish people and there are bad Black people, there are bad Spanish people, there are bad Chinese people, there's bad everything. It's just what it is. And it's terrible to generalize, just like it it's just terrible to generalize. I'll just leave it at that. I'm not going to go down that road. And props to the ADL CEO for Jonathan Greenblatt. He's given the money back at the $500,000 after Kyrie's comments today, where he didn't say I'm sorry and he refused to say I don't have anti-Semitic beliefs when he knows what it means. He tried to spin it. So it's enough. I can't wait
Yeah.
to be done with this episode and to be done with this topic and to hopefully move on. I'm sure it's not going to go
No,
away.
it's not
He's
a
going to
way.
keep talking. He's going to be suspended from the NBA, but he's not suspended from talking. It's free speech. He can talk all he wants, but there are consequences for your actions and for your words.
Yeah,
and every action has a reaction, Mike.
right.
And that's just what it is. So with
Yeah,
that, go ahead.
yeah,
I keep going. Yeah.
No, I want to make it a point and an understanding of that. There's been nah, I'm spent. This last couple, I'm spent, and I'm I've had moments where I've like broke out in tears and just been so saddened by something that I can't like I cannot tell the audience like
It's
I
become
have
a war on Jewish people
no
because of Kyrie's actions. It's
I,
become a war on Jewish people
and to see
for nothing.
and
Yeah.
to see it from the epicenter of like the thing that gave me the most joy in my
Right.
whole life is from like a sports standpoint,
It's a
to be
hobby.
the
Yeah.
Nets, a team that I couldn't adore and love more and be passionate about and be so proud to be a Net fan, to see that be the epicenter of the bullshit is so embarrassing. So I
Mhm.
was at least happy today to see the Nets take a stand up against hate and up against anti-Semitic behavior. So I felt a little bit better about that. But it just was like it was getting to the point where it was rough. It was
Yeah.
rough, and I'm just We'll see what happens moving forward. And there's no I'd be very surprised if Kyrie Irving's ever playing a game for the Nets again. I'd be
Yeah.
very
I
surprised.
think today
Not
clinched that.
anything can happen. Anything
Yeah.
can happen. So I'm not going to sit here and go, he's not going to ever be a player for the Nets. You don't know, but I think based on today and based on Kyrie's, his feelings
Stubbornness.
and
His stubbornness.
stubbornness, I would be, if I were a betting guy, I would say he's never going to play a game again for the Nets. And I believe that there's I think there's a chain reaction now where KD's dealt and the Nets can rebuild, which sounds lovely.
It sounds better. You'd rather bring back the days of Isaiah Whitehead and start this thing over.
Oh, can we go somewhere in the middle?
I think overall, just to put a bow on this for me, the worst part about this over the last few days was the fact that it felt like nobody was going to do anything about it, that he was going to get away with this. And props to Greg Giannotti on WFAN and Boomer and Gio for going in on Kyrie and Durant and Joe Tsai and Sean Marks and the NBA and Adam Silver and LeBron James, who has an opinion on everything except for this and everything, and detailing it perfectly like a Kings play-by-play guy tweeted out all lives matter. He was fired in 10 minutes. Myers Leonard says the K word on Twitch, and he's traded right away to the Thunder for a pick and then is let go and bought out, and you never heard from him again. And he's gone to counseling trying to get back to the NBA, but he's gone. Kyrie Irving does this and he gets to play 3 games, gets paid, and he gets to dodge the media for 2 days. And it felt like that they were just trying to brush us under the rug. Joe Tsai says one weird tweet and that's it. And so if I felt very, 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 very powerless for a couple of days. And that was the worst part about this overall. And that's what hurt the most. And it was empowering all these people to be like, yeah, he's right. Look at this. There's no punishment. And, it's insane. And you know what? Kyrie's, I think, got what he wants. He gets to ride off into the sunset and go be a public speaker and be Colin Kaepernick and go out there and make money off this getting quote unquote blackballed when he did it to himself. And he is nothing like Colin Kaepernick. Kaepernick took a knee. Kyrie is a lot different, a way different level. If you don't like Kaepernick, that's up to you. But what Kyrie did is in a different stratosphere than what Colin Kaepernick did.
So, and I'm full support of what, like, I personally was in full support of Colin Kaepernick and everything he did. What Kyrie Irving's doing is badass backwards, putting down a whole race, a whole religion of people. Like it's
and then not saying and then hiding behind it like he reads dictionaries, Mike. He reads the dictionary. So anyway, I think we've gone through enough. Knicks play the Sixers and the Celtics, and the Jets play the Bills, and hopefully we'll talk about sports next week. You started
the episode. I thought you were closing us out.
Yeah, I'll close this out. Yeah, Knicks play the Sixers. Harden's out. And then the Celtics on Saturday. The Ime Udoka list Celtics on Saturday. And Jaylen Brown is kind of been on Kyrie's side. You got to watch out for him a little bit out there. And, then Jets play the Bills on Sunday, which I totally forgot about this entire week because I've been so entrenched in this Kyrie Irving stuff and the Knicks games and Tibbs. And don't get me started on the game yesterday with the Hawks and the blowing the lead. And we're not going to get into that. We'll get into everything sports related next week. We'll get back on track. Hopefully nothing else happens that is hurtful to any races or religions or cultures. And we can just talk about sports on this show as we all like to do. So with that, Mike, have a good one.
All right, Alex. Take care. Thank you.